அண்ணாமலை அவர்களையும் இன்று காலை பத்திரிகையாளர் சந்திப்புக்கு வந்திருந்தாலும் இது போன்ற ஒரு கூட்டம் நடைபெறுகிறது என்று தெரிந்தவுடன் நானும் வருகிறேன் என்று அவர் 5 மணிக்கு கிளம்ப வேண்டும், நானும் வருகிறேன் என்று சொல்லி வந்திருக்கிற மத்திய அமைச்சர் மாண்புமிகு ஜிதேந்திர சிங் அவர்களையும் மற்றும் மாநில துணைத் தலைவர்களையும் மாநில செயலாளர்களையும் எங்களுடைய அமைப்பு பொதுச் செயலாளர் ஐயா கேசவ நாயுடு அவர்களும் அனைத்து நிர்வாகிகளுக்கும் அனைத்து ஊடகவியலாளர்களுக்கும் அன்பான வணக்கத்தை தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறேன். எங்களுடைய வேண்டுகோள், மரியாதைக்குரிய அண்ணாமலைஜி என்ன நினைக்கிறார்களோ, என்ன செய்கிறார்களோ, பாரத பிரதமர் என்னவெல்லாம் சாதனை படைத்திருக்கிறார்களோ, கடைசி இன்றைக்கு செங்கோல் வரை கோல் உயர கோல் உயரும் அவையார் சொல்லியிருக்கிறார். கோல் உயர கோல் உயரும். இன்னைக்கு நமக்கெல்லாம் பெருமை, தாம் உலக தமிழினத்திற்கு பெருமை. நமது செங்கோல் அங்கே காட்சி பொருளாக இருந்த செங்கோல் இன்றைக்கு ஆட்சி பொருளாக மாறி இருக்கிறது. ஆட்சி பொருளாக. அதுவரை நீங்கள் எல்லா நல்ல திட்டங்களையும் எப்படி எங்களுக்கு ஆதரவு தந்து செய்து கொண்டிருக்கிறீர்களோ அதை மேலும் மேலும் ஊக்கப்படுத்தி உற்சாகப்படுத்தி மக்களிடம் பாரத பிரதமருடைய நல்ல சிந்தனையை ஒரு தவ புதல்வன் நம் நாட்டிற்கு கிடைத்திருக்கிறார். அந்த தவ புதலுடைய பெருமைகளை நீங்கள் எடுத்து கொண்டு போக வேண்டும், சேர்க்க வேண்டும் என்று வேண்டி முடிக்கிறேன். நன்றி, வணக்கம்.
Request the chief guest to please light the lamp to begin the program.
தெரியும் பார்த்துட்டேன்.
Thank you. Now I invite Mr. M.S. Balaji, Vice President of Social Media Wing 2. Vande Mataram.
शीतलां सस्यश्यामलां मातरं वन्दे मातरं शुभ्रज्योत्स्ना पुलकितयामिनीं पुल्लकुसुमितद्रुमदलशोभिनीं सुहासिनीं सुमधुरभाषिणीं सुगतां वरदां मातरं वन्दे मातरं वन्दे मातरं।
भारत माता की जय, भारत माता की जय।
தெற்கணமும் மதிச்சிறந்த திராவிடமும் திருநாடும் தக்க சிறு பிறைமுகலும் கலிக்கணரும் திலகமுமே அத்திலக வாசனை போல் அனைத்துலகும் இன்பமுற எத்திசையும் புகழ் மணக்க இருந்த பெரும் தமிழனங்கே தமிழனங்கே உன் சீரிழமை சிறந்தியந்து செயல்மறந்து வாழ்த்துதுமே வாழ்த்துதுமே வாழ்த்துதுமே
வருகை தந்திருக்கும் அனைவரையும் வருக வருக என்று வரவேற்கிறோம். பாஜகவின் மாநில தலைவர், இளம் சிங்கம், இளைஞர்களின் நாயகன், எழுச்சி நாயகன், நமது முன்னாள் IPS அதிகாரி திரு கே. அண்ணாமலை அவர்களை வருக 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 என வரவேற்கிறோம். மாண்புமிகு பணியாளர் மற்றும் பொதுமக்கள் குறை தீர்வு மற்றும் ஓய்வூதியம் துறை அமைச்சர் திரு ஜிதேந்திர சிங் அவர்களை வருக வருக என்று வரவேற்கிறோம். மாநில துணைத் தலைவரும் இந்த நிகழ்ச்சியை ஒருங்கிணைத்து நமக்கு வழங்கியிருக்கும் திரு கரு நாகராஜன்ஜி அவர்களை வருக வருக என்று வரவேற்கிறோம். இந்நிகழ்ச்சியில் இணைந்து என்னுடன் பணியாற்றிய மாநில செயலாளர் திருமதி சுமதி வெங்கடேஜி அவர்களை வருக வருக என்று வரவேற்கிறோம். மற்றும் வந்துள்ள துணைத் தலைவர்கள் மற்றும் மாநில பொதுச் செயலாளர்கள், மாநில செயலாளர்கள் மற்றும் சமூக ஊடகவியலாளர்கள், தன்னார்வலர்கள் அனைவரையும் வருக வருக என்று இந்த நிகழ்ச்சிக்கு வரவேற்கிறேன். நன்றி, வணக்கம்.
BJP State President Mr. Annamalai will felicitate our Union Minister Mr. Jitendra Singh with celebrating Tamil Nadu Narendra Modi's Man Ki Baat book. Raman Prasad Reddy will felicitate our chief guest. Balaji will felicitate our state president Mr. Annamalai. Thank you. As Mr. Modi's government gets into 10th year, throughout the year we are going to have such influencer meetings, starting with this meeting. So I invite our chief guest Mr. Jitendra Singh to please address the gathering. Thank you.
Our very dynamic state president, that means what I am saying is truth. So I think it will be easier to deal with the social media influencers because your opinions are already in order. Without wasting time, actually, I was asking the president, I said, what is the composition of the audience? So he said, quite a good percentage are from outside BJP. So that is what actually we were looking for. Because I don't wish to talk to you as a BJP man talking to a BJP man. So let me talk to you as another social media activist talking to another social media activist, or one citizen talking to the other. And it will be easier to communicate also because I was telling Annamalai ji, sometimes in public addresses I have to take his help in translation, though I have lived in Madras for many years, but my Tamil is kunjo pesa, but not thoroughly. So the Tamil I learned was mostly from MGR movies. And though Shivaji Ganesan, he was seen to be a more serious actor those days. So my Tamil I have picked up from movies, so you can understand there may be some phrases which may not be usable in public meetings. That's why I was asking him. See, the point is why I said we should be talking as non-BJP people to non-BJP citizens is that Today we have more than 70% population which is below the age of 40. And more than 80% which is below the age of 30. When I was a young voter, we were told that during election time, you must early morning go to the park. They would give us some SOPs. Go to the park, touch the feet of some retired headmaster. Then some elderly grandfather, so that he goes home and tells that you vote for him. He came, touched my feet. I told my party about 5-6 years back, before the last election, I said the politician is moving slow, the voter is moving faster. So they said, what do you mean? I said, no, the politician seems to be still trying the tricks of the last election, whereas the voter has moved on to the next election. So they said, what is your experience on what basis? I said, nowadays, if I go and tell a grandfather that you go and tell your grandson to vote for me, sure the grandson will not vote. The formula is reversed. He will tell, Grandpa, you don't know, such a wicked person. You sit at home and you have no knowledge, see the social media and you will know what kind of trolling he faces whole day. And the whole opinion will go haywire. So coming to the subject that we were talking about, today you have to go by evidence. Gone are the days when I say something and it will be accepted. You have to argue it out. Either you convince me or I convince you. At home you have seen you can't even convince your children. So if your child is also not ready to listen to you and agree with you without evidence, how do you expect a voter will agree? The other day, a few years back, I had a very old senior person who used to be our supporter. He is no longer in the world today. He came to me, I said, you look upset. He said, no, I had a problem, but I have sorted it out. Problem in the family. That will also, because we are also a family, when you go asking for support. So I said, what was the problem? He said, my son wanted to marry a particular girl, like it happens these days. So we thought it would not make any sense arguing. He said, okay, go ahead, he and his wife. But he says, my old mother, she says, I will leave the house. The grandmother, the old lady. So he says this issue went on for 2-3 months. Then finally one day I made the old lady sit. She was from good old times, from British times, when Madras was Madras, not Chennai, and it was a big state, undivided. So he says, Amma, have you heard of governor? She says, yes, very big man. Those days governor, there used to be a governor, Madras had a governor. So he says, you are also a governor, but governor in the Indian government. Every card will go in your name. His Excellency Governor invites you. But the choice of function, the design of function will be decided by the Chief Minister. So, if you want to maintain your position as governor, you don't get into this issue. Let the children marry. Otherwise, tomorrow it may happen that you may not be able to prepare card also. They will get married, but you will no longer be governor to send a card of invitation. So he said, so like that, what I am trying to say is that nowadays you cannot say that since I spoke very beautifully, like earlier times, you had some leaders even from Tamil Nadu, great orators, and people would vote only for their portrait. Once Annamalai once said that where you can't go for campaigning, just send MGR's portrait. You will get the vote. Oh, this is a known fact. Annamalai was used to say. This doesn't work now. That is why all this exercise. Otherwise you could have also sent a portrait here. But it doesn't work, you have to invite them and argue. So we should go out to the people and argue with them. Create our own narrative. Tell us now, in the last 9 years we have Prime Minister Modi. What is the change now? What was it before? I am not talking as BJP man. You also don't support me just because I am BJP, I have come. You tell me if there is another alternative, we will go for that. Try to figure it out like that. Before 2014, there was so much of disillusionment in the country. Our youngsters wanted to go out of country. Now they are, all those who went that time are willing to come back. Not because they are BJP supporters, but they find a change. They are not so innocent or foolish that since the BJP is inviting them or any party is inviting, they see that their stakes are now here. This is how you have to, if we do not create a narrative, then those who are not comfortable with a developing India, they will create their own narrative. Because there are certain elements in public life, also in politics, which thrive in mayhem. If there is disorder, if there is lack of rule of land, if there is confusion, their politics ends. Because they don't have a base. So often what happens is some of us, we become reactive. If somebody abuses me, whole day I spend replying to him. Other people feel entertained, but it doesn't help me. I have wasted my time and energy. So why do I not create my own narrative? And to create narrative with evidence, we have to study. You have to be updated, and we will provide you all the material also. What was it before 2014? What was it now? And if it could happen before 2014, why not now? Now for our youngsters, because we have to address the younger lot. Before 2014, in India, nobody had heard the name of startup. I don't know how many of this room, if you ask yourself honestly, did you know what is startup? Prime Minister spoke from Red Fort, Startup India, Stand Up India. Even that day people were asking, what is this? Today, within 9 years, we have 1 lakh startups. 115 unicorns. Youngsters, mostly from South Indian states. Out of them, almost 30-35% women-led unicorns. 1 billion asset, and that too women. I was selling in the morning. Stop saying encourage women participation. That sounds little patronizing. You say woman is leading, allow me to participate. It has turned the other way. Most of our missions here, Gaganyaan mission, most of the scientific missions are being led by women. India has moved on from women participation to women leadership. And they are all young women and first generation women. It is not by lineage. Earlier on, many years ago, I said you talk of women liberation and women empowerment in Indian subcontinent. But have you realized maximum number of prime ministers and presidents among women have been from Indian subcontinent? So not to clap, because that's not a compliment. I tell you why. I said because they are from lineage. Indira Gandhi because daughter of somebody. Sri Mama Bandara Naika because widow of somebody. Benazir because daughter of somebody. Khalida Zia because widow of somebody. And still the women are not empowered, but because we were following a feudal system. Now we have first generation women. Even from Madras, you have this girl called Gopi, Geeta Gopinathan, absolutely first generation. Problem is, if we learn to celebrate the members in our own family, then we will realize the worth, and that will be realize what is the difference now happened in the last 1 decade. Now this girl was doing her economics, wanted to go for PhD. Her father is retired from, I think, railways. She could not afford. She went to Washington University because Washington University doesn't, they waive off fee or something for meritorious students. In the Washington University, her guide notices her rights to Harvard University. His colleague that I have received a candidate who comes once in 25 years. She deserves a better university, so you please take her. And that is how she went to Harvard. Today, she is head of the International Monetary Fund. So these are first generation. We have such a huge talent among our youth, but they were not getting an enabling atmosphere because of nepotism, because of corruption, because of so many other factors, family reasons. The other day I was telling some of you, I know whether you might have seen also, I said sometimes it is disgusting to see the picture of Vikram Sarabhai, who was originally from Gujarat, worked in Bangalore, died in Trivandrum, carrying launcher of that satellite on the carrier of a bicycle. Such primitive resources these young scientists they had, world-class scientific brain. So that is the difference. Prime Minister Modi in 9 years opened space to private sector. Today we have 150 startups working with ISRO in Bangalore. We have private startup groups, you might have seen in television that Skyroot launching their private satellite. And USA, UK, or at least USSR, then USSR, now Russia, which were many years ahead of us in space technology, are now using our launching pad to launch their satellite, and they are paying us. From USA itself, so far we have earned almost $59-60 million by launching their satellite. That means we have a caliber which is no less than anyone else, is better than them. But we didn't have that kind of enabling atmosphere. We didn't have that kind of infrastructure. This is what is to be argued out with our youngsters. Now we are number 3 in startup in the world. And I noticed that even in the foreign countries, the startup growth, they prefer Indian boys and girls. I asked them, tell me, give me some reasons why. Out of my own curiosity, I try to learn one new thing every day. So they told me 1, 2, 3, 4. Last they said one more thing. They don't take an off or holiday on weekend because our boys girls disappear on Friday. Because they are hardworking also. They are groomed like that. Our culture is different. Over there on Friday afternoon, the boy tells his parents, okay, Mama, Papa, I will see you on Monday morning. Where I am going, you don't ask, and where I am going, I will not tell you. So no work, only earn. The world has started realizing India's strength. If I go into figures the whole day, it will take. We have to but go with statistics. We had only 74 airports in India till 2014. Today we have 148, double. After this is to be seen, it is not that imaginary figure. So we created narrative. If somebody wants to check, he can check. Today I cannot tell a lie. Before I complete the sentence, the boy sitting there presses Google, checks whether I am telling a lie or not. We had just about 145 government sector medical colleges. We have added on more than 269 years, more than what we did so. All this for youth. We had 7 aims in 70 years, 15 aims added in 9 years. About 300 new government universities added on in 9 years. So that any child who has the caliber should not be deprived because of less of access to education. Education which is accessible, affordable and available. Because we were not opening government universities, so there was mushrooming of private universities. And many of these children who came from families which cannot afford were depriving themselves. And similarly, if you see the infrastructure, the way in which infrastructure development has happened, because that also gives avenues of employment, livelihood. When our metro program started, before 2014, per month the rate of construction was 60 meter. Only 60 meter rail track being laid. Today it is, 600 meter. Today it is 60 kilometer. Because Prime Minister was personally monitoring every department. He was also perfectionist, also checking pilferage happening. These new provisions started like direct benefit transfer. Interviews were abolished. Otherwise, your son gets 100% in return, my gets 5. But I give your son 5 in interview and my son 100. So my son gets the job, you don't get. The minister's son gets the job. The collector's son gets the job. The secretary's son gets it. Now that will not happen. We have made interview only qualifying. Suppose you want to become a government driver, we have to just see the skill, whether you can drive or no marks, so that no nepotism. And all these reforms, this is what we have to go and make. We can create a narrative every day by means of infographics, by means of videos, by means of versions of these persons who have been benefited. The government came in 2014 May, within 3 months, by September decision was taken that we will no longer ask anybody to get his certificates attested by the gazetted officer. Earlier on what happened? When I was also in class 10-11, we didn't know where to find gazetted officer. We thought he may be some different creature with 3 eyes, 2 ears, 4 noses. How does it look? Because there was no. And in class 11, somebody came and asked me, give me 5 rupees, I'll get all your certificates. That too I didn't have somebody for me. When we told this to Prime Minister Modi, he said, finish it off. And a message was sent that, look here, this is the Prime Minister, this is a government which has the capacity to trust the youth of this country. All these reforms have a huge socio-economic impact. If I am running a family, I don't trust my son, don't trust my daughter, then how am I going to run the family? And if they are not trustworthy, then the fault lies with me. I have not brought them up properly. So, I'm saying we'll have more of an interactive also. Yes. So I will like to invite some of your observations and we'll proceed in that direction. Because earlier also I thought we would have more of an interactive, because one way this discourse is no longer in fashion.
நம்முடைய அமைச்சர் அவர்கள் 5:15 இங்கே இருந்து அவர் ஏர்போர்ட் செல்ல இருக்கின்ற காரணம், ஒரு விமானத்தை பிடித்து டெல்லி செல்ல வேண்டும். நமக்கு 20 நிமிஷம் இருக்கு. அவர்கிட்ட இன்டராக்ஷன், உங்களுக்கு கேள்விகள் இருக்கு அப்படின்னா தயவு செஞ்சு நீங்க எதிர்த்து சென்று உங்களை அறிமுகப்படுத்தி கொண்டு கேள்வியை கேளுங்க. மைக் உங்களுடைய இடத்துக்கே வரும். நம்முடைய வாலண்டியர்ஸ் இருக்காங்க. தேங்க்யூ.
Honorable Minister, Namaste. I'm JVC Sriram from Hyderabad. Tamil Nadu has got the maximum benefit of Mudra loans. But unfortunately, is there a mechanism where we reach out to those beneficiaries? Because what we are seeing in south of India is, I've got all the benefits. I've got my Jal Jeevan, I've got my house through PM Awas Yojana, I've got Mudra loan. But my vote is not going to be based on what I got. My vote is going to be based on what I'm going to get on the day of voting or the day before voting. So how do you change this narrative so that
No, I agree with you. Part A, we must reach out. We are doing that. The party is also doing that. Annamalai is unit also. And we were discussing this morning, we should prepare videos in there. Because we have about almost 5 crore households already benefited by Mudra. Beautiful. 23 lakh crore already distributed. So that is one thing. So that not only for publicity, but also the others can be made aware that they can also avail of this. Beautiful loan scheme where you don't have to give gratuity, no guarantee. For limited amount you don't even pay. It is like parents giving their son or daughter some money, go and start your business. The other part is day before and day. That will also, that happened because the earlier governments, earlier parties always played vote bank politics. Modi has also tried to change the culture. This will happen in 3 generations. In our scriptures they say, sanskar changes on the 3rd generation. So 2nd generation is now come. You see what happened. I'll give you a small example. I was telling in the morning. This airports double. Why? Because they were opened where they were required. Like for example, in Northeast, Sikkim did not have an airport. The biggest tourist destination, but no airport. Because no vote from there. One MP can neither make the government. Arunachal Pradesh, the northern eastern, last end of Northeast, China border. War was fought there. No airport, Itanagar airport. Why? Because it can, they say, the road to power to Delhi is via Lucknow. So no need to go to. Modi changed that culture. That is why these airports are come. I was telling them about 7 years back, 6 years back, Israeli ambassador said we have a latest technology of citrus fruit park. So we said, where do you wish to put it up? He said, Mizoram. Now Mizoram is a population less than Mylapore. Just 8-9 lakh, not even million. One MP, that to other party. Mizo Nationalist Front is a totally 100% Christian state. No role in government formation or even government dismantling. But the center of excellence, first in Indian subcontinent, was set up there. So a message has been sought to be sent out that look here, we will reach out where we are required. We will fulfill the requirement where it is required. We will be there with you till the last man in the last queue. Now it is up to you to decide. That is the narrative we have to argue with the children. We say now, do you want to go for vote for what has been given on the night before or the morning after? Or you want to follow this culture? And I am sure people are gradually getting convinced because the earlier generation was conditioned by that mindset. Look at aspirational district, it's a new experiment. District not called backward, based on the parameters, scientifically, education, health, connectivity, dashboard is made, where the district shall vis-a-vis state, vis-a-vis the national level, that district of the parameter. I was part of that team which did that list. Next morning, I started receiving calls from my own constituency. What is this, sitting in Delhi, could not even include one district from your constituency. So I had to explain to them, look here, now this is a new culture. Earlier on, anybody who became minister declared his district as backward district, so that children will get admission jobs. Anybody became rail minister, opened a railway station in his village even when there was no passenger. I said, now Modi will not allow this to happen. We have to follow a new culture. And children are the ones, because they are raw, they are naive, they have not seen the sins of the past. Those who have got used to the misappropriations of the past and become habitual, they will be finding it difficult to give up. But those who are new will certainly appreciate.
Good evening, I am Shivaganam. We are seeing BJP government, Best Janata Party government from 2014, our Honorable Prime Minister doing the best ruling of the world. We want to have such a corruptionless best ruling in Tamil Nadu in 2026. In 2024, we want to get all seats of MP. 2026, we want to get all MLA seats. What we need to do? Tell me. Thank you, sir.
You need to do all that I was talking about in the last 20 minutes. Reaching out to people, arguing out to them, taking them in their language and engaging them. Ask them to argue with you, not to just say yes. Ask them why not, and then answer that. And this social media platform is a platform which gives you all the library available, all the information available. The other day, sometimes I get restless when I find people not using it up. The other day, I called out of a boy. I said, "Come here. I have seen you have changed your what is called profile picture 3 times. Why are you wasting your time?" I said, even for the person for whom you are changing may not be seeing it. So please concentrate on, because I told him why, because these children are great teachers now. We have, the other day I came across a girl, 16-year-old. She was about 3 years back. She had qualified IIT from a terrorist affected district in Kashmir periphery. So I asked her, I said, hey, you have qualified IIT, no coaching, no center there, and all the time encounters. Small little, very cute girl. She took out this, uncle this, everything in this. And she tells me 14 hours per day for 8 months and you can crack IIT. I said, nobody told me, otherwise I would have cracked. So there, we have to just streamline. Only when they are allowed to be carried away by the different kind of narrative, they go astray. Otherwise, they are open to reasoning and they also see. In my time, we had to do a thesis. My guide would tell me, you go to the British Council Library. Then I would go to British Council Library, you have here. I went there. He says, true, this book will be there in British Council Library, but not in Madras. It is in British Council Library, Calcutta. So who will go there? Today, you have such magnificent gadgets, and this technology revolution has also happened in 9 years. Earlier, you were importing mobiles. Today, you are exporting mobile chips. Such a huge difference.
Namaste ji, myself Pradeepa Ramanujan, and I would like to thank Modi ji government for giving me the Mudra loan, because I am a women entrepreneur and I want to tell this on the stage now. And,
no, you tell him.
Yeah, JVC sir knows me. And one request, you can take it as a request or as a query. And we need Navodaya school to Tamil Nadu. Okay. Because we are able to identify lots of schools in and around Tamil Nadu where, sorry, I want to use this. Mostly they are recruiting those children and they are converting something. So I don't want to mention this here. I request this to take as a.
I will have a word with Annamalai team. There may be some constraints happening because the land identification and other things have to be done by the state government. So if they are not very cooperative, sometimes it becomes difficult. But we'll, instead of discussing on the platform, we discuss how to overcome.
Sir, actually lots of schools are there.
I understand.
Schools are ready to give and they are unable to run. Most of the schools are unable to run. So we can take those schools for Navodaya and we can renovate and we can use it. Thank you, sir.
Sir, good evening. I'm Ramesh, a practicing chartered accountant. I have a question for you. See, as a chartered accountant, I am privy to all the numbers of public sector banks. I have seen a huge turnaround in all the major banks, including State Bank of India. And wherever I do my interviews, I try to pass on this message. But like in a GST department where there are so many flyers which are made public, can we get into an environment where more flyers are available? People do understand that for the past 9-10 years, the NPAs have come down. There has been a lot of good things that have happened, including the mergers. How can that happen? Because a lot of people on the ground don't understand that banks do make profit, right? They think that it's on book profit or it's on window dressing, but I do audits, so I can see the numbers on the record. Can something be done on that front?
No, I absolutely agree with you. This is the audience which can help doing that. This is why this meeting, we can create awareness. We are the social influencers or opinion makers. And I agree with you. Earlier on, you had to spend money, resources, organizing awareness camps. Now it takes nothing. Social media is such a beautiful platform, cost effective. You can prepare infographics, you can prepare information, you can prepare WhatsApp groups. I think the banks should also have their separate cells, IT cells, social media cells. Now, because that is the time has come. And similarly, all of us should also collaborate in that. And it's an evident fact that cost effectiveness has increased. Things have become much easier and technology driven. Earlier on, nowadays you have this swamitva. program, I don't know whether you have heard, where all the revenue land record of the farmers is on the dashboard. Any farmer can access, demarcate. So I went to a village where the complete conversion they had done into this digital. So my first reaction was, what will happen to the Patwari? Because Patwari was the person who prepared land record and most sought after person. He would not even ask for promotion. He would not even ask for salary because he was satisfied with what he was doing. So everybody started laughing. After 1 year, this incident happened last year. Few days back, I saw in a newspaper, Patwari is going on strike for hike in salary. I said, no, this has happened. Because this technology-driven thing has also eliminated corruption, eliminated delays. These things have to be brought to the awareness of the people.
From the college you studied in Chennai.
I didn't study, but I used to go there.
Sir,
for classes, of course, I went to the medical school in Stanley and I used to go to Loyola for English.
Yes, I work at Loyola as a professor of management. So my question is, these three bodies are there. As an academician, I am telling you, NAC is there, UGC is there, AICT is there. Lot of complaints are there against the NAC, you must have seen it. We have brought so many, even a minister has brought 2-3 portfolios. Why not one organization, Higher Education Council, to look after all these functions? Number 2, in state government we have a peculiar problem. Because of the brutal majority, even very genuine cases are not being taken care of by FIR. So I have written to Modi ji, I got a reply also, if you want I will show you, that NIA should have offices where they should take cases when these local police have not registered cases even after 30 days. Because otherwise there is no modus operandi to have the grievances of the people, and as such the law is only for rich people, powerful people, political leaders and so on. Kindly do consider this. The next thing is this like judicial services, economic services, the vice chancellors should be selected based on all India basis like judges. So kindly form an all India vice chancellors selection forum to ensure that people from other states also get opportunity to become vice chancellors in Chennai or in any other state. Kindly do take this or escalate this to our Prime Minister. I have already written to him. I have got an acknowledgement. One last thing is, since I met you last time, I have written 2 letters to you, but not even a single word of reply. Whereas I got a reply from Modi ji, from Amit Shah ji, if you want I will show you my account. So please make it a point to send at least an acknowledgement. The letter which I received from Modi ji was handed over to me with a lot of respect by the postman because it was a huge letter with the emblem. So kindly do take care of this acknowledgement issue. Thank you.
No, actually I didn't receive a letter. Maybe there will be confusion of the address. Now what you can do is, you can take Mr. Venkatesan is here. M. Venkatesan. He is also son of the soil. You can take his address. Professor, he is there. So you can write at his address. So I will get the, maybe I don't know where it has gone. Otherwise it is not possible that we call back even if there is a missed call. Now your suggestions are very constructive, but one thing we should realize that also we have to tell, in 9 years we have at least made a change in the education policy. We have started moving this National Education 2020 should have happened many years ago. I was telling the students, I keep visiting the student colleges every week. I was telling them, earlier you became prisoner of the aspiration. Now you have aspiration. The confusion is which outlet to go. They asked me, sir, explain. I said, see, earlier if you took medical because your parents wanted you to become doctor, after class 12 you didn't get a medical seat. You had no choice but to do BSc, botany, zoology. You can't change subject. After that, again nothing. Then you go civil service, you don't pass, then nothing, go for MSc. Now, after class 12, you can change subjects. You can have combination of subjects. You can have economics with biology. You can test your aptitude. If you think, no, I am not good at that, I am good in that, I can go that side. So already the government has started thinking at that direction, and your suggestions are very constructive.
அக்கா, நீங்க பேசுறதுக்கு முன்னாடி நம்முடைய அமைச்சர்கள் கிளம்புறாங்க. அவருக்கு ஒரு முறையான முறையில் ஒரு நன்றியை தெரிவிப்பது நம்முடைய கடமை. I speak in English only, especially addressing the question that the last gentleman asked. Among the ministers, Dr. Jitendra Singh ji, his role is very special in our cabinet, in our government, because he handles a lot of sensitive portfolios, which is not open to the public. You can't file an RTA and get data. These are all very, very sensitive portfolio which he manages: space, technology, earth sciences. He manages the DOPT. He manages the Prime Minister's office as the Minister of State Independent Charge. So it's a very special portfolio. That's why we see him very little coming out, talking in the open forum.
So if you have difficulty in making your correspondence write to me, you can write to Annamalai ji. He keeps forwarding all the letters to me.
So what we do is, sir's OSD is a Tamilian, Venkatesh ji is there. So we keep doing internally when there is a process. So I just want to clarify, because a wrong impression shouldn't go out to a larger audience. Because you should not consider him as just another person. He's just another person only, Karyakarta in the BJP. But his role and ability to communicate openly, sir cannot communicate many things openly. But every time we invite him to Tamil Nadu, sir is the first person to jump at the opportunity to come here. And this is not the first time he has come, because Kashmir to Tamil Nadu, if you are looking at one connection, sir is the connection. Born in Kashmir, he is an MP of Udhampur there, studied medicine in Stanley.